This is Science 1, Quarter 3, Module 5 for Week 6. So this is about sounds with specific topic or competency inferring that sound is produced by objects or things that vibrates. Write your name before we begin. So the lesson is about sound. Sound is one of the properties of materials. What kind of sounds do you hear? Around you, which sounds loud, soft? Which sounds are good to hear? Which are unpleasant for you? So our objective, with the help of Teacher Rochelle. Hi, I am Teacher Rochelle. I am going to guide you in your journey to this learner's material. At the end of the module, you should be able to discover ways to produce sound, describe the sound made by different objects, compare sounds made by different objects, relate the sound made to the force applied and the kind of vibrating object, and then conclude that different objects make different sounds. For our pretest directions, put a check in the box if it is correct and X if not. Let's begin. Number 1. Sound is made by all kinds of materials. Sound is made by all kinds of materials. Number 2. Sound may be loud or soft to hear. Sound may be loud or soft to hear. Number 3. A doorbell produces sound when button is pushed. A doorbell produces sound when the button is pushed. Number 4. Drum produces sound by blowing it. Drum produces sound by blowing it. Number 5. The church bell has softer sound than a chime. The church bell has softer sound than a chime. So check or X. And then when you're done, good job kids. I'm so happy that you're able to answer the questions. So let's now proceed with engage. What do I hear? Read and understand the poem. Highlight the words using yellow crayon that suggest sounds. Okay. On this poem entitled Swish Went the Fish, so this is called this kind of poem. It has words which we call it as onomatopoeia. So this you will encounter this on your upper grades lessons, where your teacher will introduce you some of onomatopoeia. So it means the word that imitates the sound it represents, like splash, pop, bang. So it means from the sound that it makes, there is a word for it based on how it sounds. So it's called onomatopoeia. Okay, from this poem, I'll set this aside first. From this poem, you will find 4 onomatopoeia, so which tells sound, or the words that imitates the sound. Okay, so using this poem, what you have to do is highlight the words. So parang kukulayin mo yung words na yon using yellow crayon so that I can still see the words that you chose that suggest sounds. Okay, I'll read the poem. Swish Went the Fish by Kelly Roper. Swish, swish, swish went the little goldfish as he swam around his bowl. Splash, splash, splash went his fancy little tail, because he was a happy little soul. Glub, glub, glub went the bubbles he blew as they floated up to the top. Smack, smack, smack went his tiny fishy lips as he ate his flakes without a stop. Okay, so we have here, maybe on each stanza there are words that suggest sound. So you have to highlight them. Okay, and when you're done, so you can still use this part under engage this poem when you like to practice reading. So that would help us even in English subject. Okay. For Explore A, how do they make sound? The following are musical instruments. Choose which action is done for it to make sound. Write it on the blank. So we have here 4 different musical instruments. These are played to produce music. So we have here a drum, a trumpet, guitar, and piano. So below each picture there is a blank, so you have to answer how is it played in order to make sound. So where are you going to get your answer? So it is from the lower part. We have here 4 words. So pressing, blowing, strumming, or tapping. So one word for each musical instrument. Like the drum, how is it played in order to make sound? Is it by pressing, by blowing, by strumming, or by tapping? So finish this part before we proceed with Explore B. Okay, and when you're done, Explore B, what kind of sound do they make? Color the circle red that corresponds to the word that describes the sound it makes. So this time you will be using a red crayon in order to choose which would describe the kind of sound. Okay. For the first picture, we have a fire truck siren. So if ever you've heard it it how the siren sound, so is it loud or soft? Choose one from here, and then on the other on the second column, is the sound high or low? When we say high, so parang manipis, matinis ang sound. So like it's like shouting, ha ha! So yan. So wala naman siya magsha-shout na, oh! So parang hindi, it does not match the emotion. So pag high, yung papataas yung boses, and then when you say low, bababa ang boses. So yan. So that is the difference between high and low. Okay, next picture. Okay, this tells blowing of whistle. So if you've heard, so maybe a referee or a game master would blow his whistle. Does it sound loud or soft? Does it sound high or low? Or if you've tried blowing a whistle, what can you remember about its sound? Next one, playing bass drum. So this drum is different from the one read on the previous page because this is bigger and it makes a different sound. So ayan yung sa parade. This one is the biggest na drum. So how does it sound? Is it loud or soft, high or low? Next one, brushing of teeth. So how is the sound? Is it loud or soft, high or low? And then chirping of bird. So especially those that are small. So is it loud or soft, high or low? So color your answer with red crayon. Okay, if you're done with that part, so you can answer these 4 questions related to the one that you chose. So among those pictures, ayan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which has the loudest sound? Choose one. Then which has the softest sound? Another answer for this. Next one, which has the lowest sound? And then which has the highest sound? Only one answer for each question. Pause to finish this part, and then if you're done, let's proceed with Explore C. Okay, with Explore C, this will require you will be needing some materials. So if ever these items are not available, you can think of an object that will replace or that will be our substitute in place of that, those that are listed here. Okay, so sound that it makes. The problem or the question that we need to answer after this activity: do objects make different sounds? Or and then does force applied affect the sound it makes? Okay, so what you need are the following materials: drumstick or any stick. So I'll show you first how it will be done, and then after this activity, after this, you may pause, and then you can do this also. So by looking for objects available in your home. So like for me, what materials do I have? So yung una, drumstick or any stick, I have here yung one pair ng chopstick. Ito, it's made of wood, so I can say more similar, it's somehow similar with a stick. Next one, table. So ito, napapatungan ng laptop table. Next, glass. I have here ito, because I am using my glass, so instead I look for another one that can substitute. So pwede na itong jar. Ito. So without the lid, and then without any contents. And then aluminum pot, kasi yung aluminum pot, it might take much space on my table. So ito na lang. So similar pa din. Metal form. So pan. So hindi ito yung sa tangled. Then, plastic basin. Ang plastic basin namin ay malalaki kasi ginagamit sa paglawa. So, if that is your case too, you can also look for material similar to it. So, maybe another object made of plastic. Like for me, I chose this one. So, parang plastic bottle container. So, complete na. So, any material similar to this that are available in your home. Okay, so what to do? So, step 1, using a stick, tap or beat moderately the table thrice. So, I'll try it. So, nakikita ba? I'll tap the table thrice. Okay, and then step 2, using the same stick and the same amount of force, do it on the glass. So, pag sinabing force, kung gaano mo kalakas o kahina yung pag-tap ng table, it would be the same on this jar. So, nakikita ba ang jar? Ito. Yan. And then, also with using the same amount of force, do it on aluminum pot. So, ibalik ko na yung camera. Lang. So, instead, I'm using this pan. So, ito. Ito. So, that's the sound. Next one, plastic basin, or instead of plastic basin, I'll make use of this. Ito. So those are the different sounds of those different materials. Next, using the same stick, tap or beat the table and aluminum pot harder. So it means you put more force to it. So more force, mas pupukpukin ko yung table. And then aluminum pot, I'll beat it harder. So, medyo mapayat lang ang stick ko. So, also, meron din ako nito, drumstick. So, yung dati, I'll try it. Yung tap or beat the table thrice, yung step 1. Yon. And then, yung table, done with table, sunod naman, aluminum pot. Okay, and then, back to number 3, using the same stick, tap or beat the table and aluminum pot harder. Okay, what if I tap the table harder? What if I tap the aluminum pot harder? Yun. So that's it. That's how we are going to do this explore C. Okay, I'll check muna. Okay, so next one, kung gusto nitong gayahin, you can do it. You can do so. But if not, if you'd like to based on what I have done, so pwede rin. Or if you've experienced these things, yung tapping, especially with applying more force. So if you tried this, so it's okay. So next, what have you found out? Put a check on the correct statement. So based on that activity, you put a check that matches what you found out. Okay, the table and glass when tapped with stick make different sound. And then when tapped using a stick, the aluminum pot makes a softer sound than the plastic basin. And then when tapped or beaten harder, it makes a louder sound. So put a check on the correct statement, and if it does not apply, you just leave it blank. Next, for conclusion, choose the word in the parentheses to complete the statement. So where are you going to find the choices? So nandito sa parentheses, so you have two choices. You just choose one to complete the sentence. So for statement number 1, objects make blank sounds. What kind of sounds? The same sounds or different sounds? So pause to answer statement number 1. Next, number 2, when more force is applied, pag pinapalo mo ng mas malakas, like beating it harder, it makes blank sound. Is it softer sound or louder sound? Okay, write it on the blank. Okay, for explain, we have only one question. What kind of sound do objects make? So, ano yung klaseng sound? How can you tell? Or with regard to the properties of sound, what are the words that can be used to describe the sound? The kind of sound. Okay, list them here. I think there are 4. Okay, there are 4, but if you'd like to add 2 more, so pwede. And then we have here, remember, sound. Hear ye, hear ye. Sound is everywhere. Sound is a form of energy. So aside from what we discussed, light, energy, sound is also considered a form of energy. So sound may come from nature, like thunderstorms, falling rain, and strong winds. So especially during the typhoon, so we can hear the howling sound of the wind. So animals make sound. Dogs bark, cats purr, and roosters crow. People make sound too. So kagaya ni teacher, kagaya mo, they talk, laugh, cry, and shout. So all of this, they make sounds. Okay, snapping of fingers, so even using your parts of the body, snapping of fingers, stamping of feet, and clapping of hands produce sounds. So, yan. So, yung iba wala pang sound kasi you need to practice more. So, stamping of feet and then clapping of hands. You can clap it harder. So, does it make a louder sound? Next, objects make sound when ringing the bell, tapping the drum, strumming the guitar, blowing a trumpet and whistle, and shaking the maracas and tambourine. They all produce sound. So that's why we have here different kinds of musical instrument. So to make music, there should be sound. Okay, next one. At home, there are things that make sound like the alarm clock, television set, radio, water from the faucet, electric fan, and many more. So lahat yan may sound, especially tuwing umaga. Okay, sound can be described as loud and soft. Those that are too loud becomes noise and unpleasant to the ears. So, pag maingay, yun, unpleasant na yun. Soft music that is played is pleasant to the ears, especially yung music na nakakapatulog kasi its sound is pleasant. Okay, on the diagram shows a scale of sounds which is measured by decibel. So, hindi ang pangalan si decibel, it's decibel. The higher the decibel means the louder the sound. The range is from the object with faintest or softest sound up to extremely loud. So, let's look at the diagram. Okay, yan. I'll make it smaller so that it will be, everything will be shown to you. So, yan. So, from 0 dB, decibel, 0 until 140. So, we can see here, kaya pala. So, ang breathing, I can't hear it, and then you can't hear it because it's only 10 decibels. So, may sound na pala yun. Yes, it has sound, but it's too soft that you can't hear it. And then rustling leaves yung kapag windy day. Pero hindi yung sa bagyo kasi that would make it very louder na. So it's only 20 decibels. The whisper. So yan, naririnig ba ako? So yan, 30 decibels. Ang refrigerator, so minsan may maririnig kang umugong, so that's 40 decibels. Moderate rainfall, hindi naman bagyo, is 50 decibel. Conversation, so, lalo yung mga nagchichismisan, so 60 decibels. Car in a city traffic, yung ang tambutso, may takip pa siya. So, yung normal na car, it's 70 decibels. Truck, yan, it's bigger siyang sasakyan, so 80 decibels. Hair dryer, yung sa parlor, so, minsan hindi na nagkakarinigan kasi nagpapatuyo na ng buhok. So, 90 decibels. Helicopter. So, kahit makikita mo malayo pa, up above the sky, so it's 100 decibels. How much more kapag mas malapit ka? Kaya yung mga sumasakay sa helicopter, they make use of tins, ang tawag doon, yung nilalagay tapos may parang headset. So that it's too loud even when you are in a helicopter. Kaya for you to understand each other, susuot ka noon. Trombone, yung sa parade, so hanggang palakas ng palakas. Police siren, jet engine. So teacher, hindi ko naman naririnig pag may dumadaan na jet sa taas kasi it's too far. But once it is sa mga airport, yung mga airport ground crew, so nakasuot sila kasi masyadong nakakabingi. And fireworks pag New Year, yan, yung nakaka-surprise ang mga tunog. Firecrackers, it's too loud. So, among this, which is the loudest? So, it's the fireworks, 140. And which is the softest? It's the breathing. So, yan. So, from green until orange. Ang green, faint lang. So, ibig sabihin, kayang-kaya pang sound. Tapos, itong yellow-green or lime, moderate to quiet. So, okay pa. Pwede, pleasant pa siya. And then, itong car and truck. So, under yellow na, loud to very loud. So, unpleasant na. Lalo na kapag tulog ka, tapos biglang may dumaan na sasakyan. And then, hair dryer, until dito sa may trombone. So, it's very loud to extremely loud. O nga naman, hindi na nagkakarinigan. And then, from this red-orange, ayan na, yung pinakamataas. It's extremely loud to threshold of pain. So, masakit na din sa tenga and it's too unpleasant. Yan. So, sound can be described, aside from loud and soft, it can be described as high or low. The bass drum has a low tone while cymbals have high tone. Yan. So, ito yung parang, clang! Ito naman, boom, boom, boom. So, low and high. So, when more force is applied, kapag pinagtama yung dalawang cymbals harder, so, and stringing the cymbals to each other harder, they make louder sound. And how can we hear the sound? Paano nagkakaroon ng sound? So this is what happens. Sounds come from vibrations. So we can see it. So when an object or source of sound vibrates, it disturbs the surrounding molecules, causing them to move in waves, and the stronger the vibration, the louder the sound. So if this is the source of the sound, so syempre hindi naman yung makikita yung vibrations, pero parang mga waves that it moves the molecules in the air. So, hindi naman invisible siya, pero ganyan nangyari until it reaches to our ears. Kaya narinig, oh, ano to? Parang pinggan yun na nabasa. Yan. So, doon sa malayo, parang may pinupukpok na parang may pinupukpok, siguro may construction. So, ganyan ang sound. So, key concepts. Sound is a form of energy and we can hear it everywhere. Sound can be described as loud or soft, high or low, pleasant or unpleasant. Sound is produced by vibrations. Okay, apply your learning. Can you tell which or what kind of sound they make? So in your home or in your neighborhood, list down 5 that make sound or that you can hear. Those that you can hear. Ano bang narinig ko sa paligid, sa umaga, sa hapon? So just choose 5. Then describe the sound it makes. Is it loud or soft, high or low, pleasant or unpleasant? So you have to list down 5 of those that you can hear and then you have to describe it by choosing the word loud or soft, high or low, pleasant or unpleasant. So you can have 3 answers or siguro 2 to 3 words to describe the source of sound. So there are 5 items. So you can go back to this part after this video or you can pause to finish this page 11. Next, test yourself. Match the picture with how it produces sound. Write the letter on the blank. So we have here different musical instruments. We have guitar, trumpet, tambourine, grand piano, and triangle. So how does it make sound? A, by shaking, which is A, by shaking. Next, letter B, which is by striking with beater, which is by striking with beater. Next, which is letter C, by pressing the keys, by pressing the keys. And then, which is D, by blowing, D, by blowing. And then, which is E, by strumming, E, by strumming. Okay, make sure that you have your answers from number 1 until number 5 before we proceed with the next page. Okay, reflect. Wow, congratulations for finishing this module. What have you learned? Put a check under the proper column. So there are 5 on our checklist. Okay, were you able to discover ways to produce sound? Is it yes or no? Next, were you able to describe the sound made by different objects? Yes or no? Number 3, were you able to relate the sound made to the force applied and the kind of vibrating object? And then number 4, were you able to compare sounds made by different objects? Okay, next, were you able to conclude that different objects make different sounds? Okay, if most of this you answered yes, it means that you understood what this module is all about. So the following terms used in this module are defined as follows. Produce, it means to make. And then vibration. Ano ba yung vibration? Kanina ko pa narinig. So it's the back and forth movement. So parang yung mga waves. Okay, next one. Post test. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Write it on the blank. So you have choices A, B, C, or D. Number 1. How does a drum make sound? A. By blowing it. B. By shaking it. C. By beating it. D. By pressing buttons. How does a drum make sound? A. By blowing it. B. By shaking it. C. By beating it. D. By pressing buttons. Next, number 2. Which makes a low and loud sound? A. Church bell. B. Whistle. C. Cymbals. D. Electric fan. Which makes a low and loud sound? A. Church bell. B. Whistle. C. Cymbals. D. Electric fan. Next, number 3. Which animal makes a high and soft sound? So high at the same time soft. A. Cat. B. Rooster. C. Dog. D. Cow. Which animal makes a high and soft sound? A. Cat. B. Rooster. C. Dog. D. Cow. Number 4. What happens when you blow the whistle harder? A. There is no sound produced. B. The sound becomes lower. C. The sound becomes louder. D. The sound becomes softer. What happens when you blow the whistle harder? A. There is no sound produced. B. The sound becomes lower. C. The sound becomes louder. D. The sound becomes softer. Number 5. Which statement is correct about sound? A. All objects make loud and low sounds. B. All objects make soft and high sounds. C. Objects produce similar sounds. D. Objects produce different sounds. Which statement is correct about sound? A. All objects make loud and low sounds. B. All objects make soft and high sounds. C. Objects produce similar sounds. D. Objects produce different sounds. Okay, so hi, I am back to congratulate you again. Please check your answers. So in this case, I'll check your answers. I hope you got a perfect score by this time. But if you still have some errors, you may read the module again or set a conference with your teacher until you learn. So you're looking good. Congratulations, you're done with science.